Good evening. It's Friday, January 31st, 2025. With so much that's happened since the beginning of the year, I decided that I needed to take a little bit of time to just assimilate all this new energy and just take some time to digest everything that's been happening. It's been a lot. It's been really difficult for all of us to logically make sense of all the events that have taken place since we entered 2025. And it seems really surreal. But when we think about all of the insights that we've received since about October of 2024, we were given the heads up about how eventually this influx of light from the solar activity was going to trigger a mass awakening that was going to lead to a chain reaction of events, one event taking place right after the other in rapid succession. Really since about the 11th of January onward. If we really look back, it started right at about January 6th to January 11th, and from the 11th it's just been one wild event after another, up until what the whole world witnessed on the 29th, which also was an 11th day of the month. So the first day of January was a 47 day, because 1 + 1 + 2025, if you were to break 2025 into two double-digit numbers, you add those up and it would be 45. So 45 plus January plus the 1st is 47. So the very first day of 2025 was an 11 day. And then we had the actual 11th, and then the 29th. A strong number of manifestation. So with January being a 1 month, whenever we run across an 11 day like the 11th or the 29th, technically that would be a 111, a number that means manifestation. So this has turned out to be an extremely eventful month, just like we received the heads up. And right now the whole world, especially the United States, is reeling from the events that happened on the 29th. When I look at Friday, January 31st, 2025, I see the number 131 for January 31st. Whenever 1 precedes a number, it means that we will be very soon entering the energy of the number that follows the 1. So 31 sums up to 4. It's the reverse of 13. 13 is a number that deals with transformation, and that transformation into something with more structure. it's like a metamorphosis that leads to a state of equilibrium or a state of balance or stability. But 31 comes after the 13. So if 13 is a number that speaks about transformation, then 31 is a number that talks about someone that has the ability to transform or the responsibility to transform. And in order to have the ability to transform, first of all, there has to be a creative spark, someone who has the ability to initiate change or catalyze change. Since the 3 of the 31 is in the tens place, I think of the number of creation or creativity, 3 times the number 10, which is mastery. So this is someone who has mastered the ability to create or the creative process. The one that comes after the 3 and 31, it tells me that this person who has mastered the ability to create something out of nothing is what I'm hearing. The ability to create something from nothing or something from very little resources. Or I'm seeing a picture of someone who can go in the kitchen and the refrigerator and the cabinets can be relatively bare, like maybe some flour, some salt, some butter, maybe an egg, and just a very sparse amount of ingredients, and come up with like a really beautiful, colorful, nutritious, delicious meal. And someone who's extremely resourceful and creative, and I'm getting the sense of this is the person that really has fun with what they're doing. So we don't want to miss that aspect of having fun. So this is someone who creates structure, creates order, in a fun way. And if this has to do with organizing talent or organizing people, creating an organization even, or directing an organization, this is someone that people enjoy being around. Just their very presence inspires creativity or even facilitates creativity. A very creative leader, someone who inspires everyone to have fun or really tap into their innate creativity, whatever it is that they're good at. This person is able to recognize that and place them in a role where they're going to do their best work and really enjoy it. This is a quality that you can also turn inward on yourself and really do an honest self-assessment on what you're drawn to. What have you been drawn to since you were a child? What do you gravitate towards? Whether that's the type of people that you gravitate towards, the type of art that you like to do, the type of foods you like to eat, the type of environments that you like to be in or to create for yourself, or environments that you like to create for others. Whenever you find yourself in a group situation, what role do you gravitate towards? But also, this is something that begs the question, when you give yourself this honest assessment, what role would you like to be better at in a group? What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? So, a person who has a 31 energy, they don't shy away from challenges. So if they see that there's a particular aspect of group work or being part of an organization that they find challenging, they will rise up to that challenge and they welcome the opportunity to learn to do something new and really enjoy it. I'm hearing something that says that mastery has occurred when a challenge no longer feels uncomfortable. Now, when we sum up January 31st, 2025, we get several different numbers. 1 plus 31 plus 20 plus 25 is 77, so we have a double 7 here. When 7 is in the tens place, that's 7 times 10, so 7 times mastery. I'm thinking of that energy of gaining insight by going introspective and multiplying that times the concept of mastery. So this is someone who has mastered the ability to go inward to gain insight on a situation or a challenge that they face. So, as I just mentioned earlier, the mastery occurs when something that was initially challenging no longer causes discomfort. So this is someone who has gotten really comfortable at recognizing the challenge and then immediately just finding joy in tackling it, just really calmly taking it introspective and just taking it apart, reverse engineering it piece by piece, and gaining an intimate knowledge of every component of that situation. They know that they don't always have to accept something exactly the way that it is. I'll put that another way. When they're presented with something exactly the way that it is, it doesn't mean that they don't accept it. It means that they take the time to get to understand every component that makes that thing what it is, how it is. And they learn how to apply the main idea of whatever that is, whatever it's for, what purpose it serves, and applying that to their own need. Are there things about this thing that exists in its entire form that don't serve a purpose for myself? So learning how to dissect it and learning what components of that entire thing you can use, and then putting together something whole for yourself, reverse engineering it and taking the pieces of it that are relative to the problem that you face right now, or a problem that you tend to face, and creating something that you can use that's not more than what you need. The idea of efficiency is coming in. Also, if we take January and then sum 31 to 4, and then 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. So that 1 plus 4 plus 9 gives us 14. I'm thinking of the ability to solve something that initially may cause cognitive dissonance. Two people who have a different set of strengths, and at face value, it might be hard to recognize exactly how those two different strengths complement each other. But when those two people, when they go introspective, they are both able to reach a common ground. And then they find where these two strengths that seem opposite actually complement each other, and they're able to produce art. I'm really feeling this idea of resolving a cognitive dissonance. Resolving a cognitive dissonance by finding a common ground. Replacing some sort of a disappointment, replacing this feeling of expectation with appreciation for what's there. And using that to build a relationship, and using that to learn something from each other's differences moving forward. This gaining of wisdom by way of relationships. And I also see January plus 31 is 32. Plus 9 gives us 41. And 41 is the reverse of 14. So the 4 is in the tens place, which is about creating structure. And that creating structure times 10, which is mastery. So this is someone who has mastered the ability to create structure, to organize, to add stability to any situation. I get someone who's very mature and patient, someone who's not extremely quick to judge, but takes an opportunity to really ascertain the strengths, the strengths of every component or every team member, and understanding where to place them and how different team members can relate to each other in order to unify them, to unify the entire team. In other words, creating structure in the organization. So this 4 times 10 is someone who has mastered the ability to create the structure, organization, stability. And they are taking this knowledge, now that they have this knowledge and this proven track record of doing this, they're using it to level up. They have the ability to create structure and organization, but once they create this organization, structure, stability, they don't just stay there at a level of equilibrium, or they don't just, this is not someone who's satisfied with the status quo. They take advantage of the opportunity to improve as needed. And now this person has seen an opportunity where they can level up. They take advantage of the opportunity and use the resources that they have at their disposal. They make wise decisions that cause the entire organization to level up. So in general, today I'm also getting an energy of leveling up. We've all experienced difficult situations and circumstances recently over the past week, especially over the past day, 2-3 days ago. Very difficult circumstances. But what you probably recognized this morning, as soon as you shook the cobwebs out, that you had experienced a leveling up in your energy. And it's just in time for us to turn over into the month of February. This really has been a momentous month of January. It really meant something that the first day of January, the first day of this year, was a 47 day, an 11 day, dealing with master conceptualizing and the initiation of this plan. This month was going to require a lot of momentum in order to really pull that off the rest of this year. And with this year being 2025, the last two digits of 2025, it tells me that things are going to be moving quickly. It's going to be necessary for us to we're not going to have a whole lot of time to sit on the decision-making process. So it's very important that we plan things ahead of time. Last year was an important year for planning ahead, and this year that energy remains, but this year is going to be moving so rapidly. The month of January was just one thing right on the heels of another. The month of February is not going to be quite as fast as the month of January, because the month of January needed that momentum in order to really kick off the year. But the month of February is going to be more about, we need to keep our feelings in check. We're going to need to really keep our wits about us. It's so important for us to really zero in on who we are as individuals. Don't allow other people to get you confused over who you are, what you stand for, what you want, where you're going. This month of January was very important for getting you to center in on who you are as an individual, because the month of February is going to test that. And so it's very fortunate that the month of February is going to move at a bit of a slower pace than January, because we're going to need that, because we are going to really need to assess that the decisions that we are going to be making, that we are making the decisions that are in line. It's really fortunate that the month of February is going to move a little bit slower than the month of January, because February is going to be a month where we're going to be faced with decisions that we are really going to need to ask ourselves. How does this decision that I want to make, is the decision that I want to make in line with who I am? How do I really feel about this? Am I being forced, or am I under any sort of duress? Am I compromising my principles? In what way is my intuition are my gut feelings about the decisions that I'm making positive or negative? For the month of February, it's going to be really important to ask yourself, you really need to check your gut feelings and your emotions. Are you torn? Really examine if your gut feelings are causing you to feel torn. Are you torn between your emotions and your intuition in any way in the decision-making process in the month of February? So tomorrow is February 1st, and the message that I'm getting is, by now you've seen enough happen. Everything that you've seen happen in this first month of the year should be enough for you to know What are your priorities from February on? You know what your priorities are from February on, and the month of February is not going to move as fast as the month of January, but it is a bit shorter month. There's a message about procrastination. Don't fool yourself into thinking, oh, this month is moving a bit slower, so I've got time. That's a trap. The procrastination will be a trap. So just by all the events that you have seen occur in this month of January that has gone by, you know what you need to do. So just get straight to it right from the very first day of February. And be persistent and be consistent and be insistent that you're doing things for the right reason. That number 222. What are your motivations? Are you doing things for the right reason? Is your heart in your decision? Is your heart in your relationship? Is there heart in this, whatever you're creating? Does it have your heart in it? Is your heart infused in it? When people use your service or your product, or when people hang around you, can they feel your heart in everything that you do and that you say? Are you embodying your heart condition? And does everything that you create embody your heart condition? What is the condition of your heart? I'm getting the message of stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Don't allow these distractions to make you second guess your plan. You might not be able to move as quickly with your plan as you thought that you would be able to. Sometimes there are external events that may make you have to slow down just a little bit or maybe pause for a moment. But stick with the plan. Don't allow these external events, these distractions, the gaslighting and manipulation cause you to second guess yourself or lose sight of who you are. Here we are again. I'm talking about really knowing who you are as a person, really being firm in your identity. That's coming up again. The month of February, really be firm in your identity. And when it's time to make these decisions, or as events transpire, you need to ask yourself, okay, am I just being headstrong moving forward? Make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on. Make sure that you're not so headstrong moving forward with something that you wrote on paper or something that you planned, that it was written in stone, and now there's a circumstance or a situation where you really need to step on the brakes and make an adjustment, and you're still barreling right into it. That could be a mistake. Don't be so headstrong that your own plans work against you. I'm getting a message of move forward with emotional balance and understand that it is okay to make little adjustments along the way. Just keep moving forward. Even if you have to slow down sometimes, or even if you have to pause, keep moving forward. If you need to slow down, if you need to pause, use that as an opportunity to make adjustments moving forward. Sometimes moving slower, like the story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare might barrel forward, but make a lot of mistakes and end up not finishing the race. But the tortoise will get there. I'm not saying that you have to be the tortoise, but don't be afraid to be the tortoise if you have to. And when it comes to gaining insight, you have different ways at your disposal. You're going to learn things through trial and error, but you can also learn things by looking at what you have in front of you and going introspective, which is a 7 energy. And you also can gain insight by looking around at the big picture, or looking at what other people have done around the world. Don't have such a myopic view of things, the way that most people may do it in the country where you are. Look at how people solve problems in different parts of the world. There's something to be gained. There's value in the way other people in the world deal with situations. The way they structure their families, the way they structure their education system, the way they structure their health care system, their view of science, even their view of religion and spirituality. I'm really getting this energy of someone who embodies the ability to build things, to build anything, like a master builder type energy. So someone who really embodies that quality, who really resonates at that energy, like they stand for that. They don't get disoriented every time they face a challenge. In fact, lots of times they find it really fun to look for a new challenge. Sometimes they look for new challenges to solve because they know that it makes them even better at what they do, more seasoned at what they do. Sometimes they look for challenges so that they can instruct people on how to deal with challenges like that. It's not that they're solving these problems because it's a problem that they really face. Sometimes they're just looking for a certain type of problem just to present it to someone who may be facing something like that, or may face something like that in the future. That message is important for someone. There's a message coming in about there's a situation that's going to be coming up very soon where, and this is going to happen a lot, but this is something specific. There's a situation that's going to be coming up very soon where you're going to feel pressure to make a quick decision. And as I mentioned about this energy that we're coming into for the month of February, don't let someone just come in very quickly and try to sell you on an idea to get you to make a very quick decision. Don't allow someone to put a shiny object in front of your face that makes you forget about what you had already planned for yourself, or what you already want to do with your time or your energy, or even forget about who you are, or make you minimize who you are, or make you feel that you are not as, make you feel less important than what you really are, when what they're really looking for is a sale. Or maybe they are looking to, maybe this person realizes your value and they only are realizing your value because they want to ride off of your value, but they don't want to recognize you for your value. In other words, they are sacrificing your position for their own end. That's something that we'll need to realize too. These are some situations that some of us in the collective are going to be facing. So again, that's why it's so important for us to all really take this to really understand and appreciate who you are as a person and have a really strong sense of who you are. It's really important for you to have formed a really healthy sense of identity moving forward in this year. We had a lot happen this first month of the year, and we may be reeling right now. This is an opportunity to really understand. We were given a heads up about what was going to happen before the end of 2024, and now a lot of it has happened. So this is a chance to really say, wow, okay, this is really happening. And the plans that you already made, you already know what to do. So stick to the plan and don't allow yourself to get distracted. If you have to slow down, if you have to pause, do so, but use that as an opportunity to make the adjustments necessary and keep moving forward.